what I think about when I'm deck building is I'll try to figure out the leader's strengths and build around them. Specifically for a deck like Sabo, he actually can go kind of both ways. The leader effect, the top part is a bit of a downside, but the bottom part of the leader effect, when you have one longer leader and an 8 cost or higher, then all of your characters and leader gains plus 1000. That doesn't mean just on your turn, that's also on the opponent's turn. So I was trying to think, for example, for this leader, because the type is Dressrosa and Revolutionary Armies, you could probably go into both. And the expected way is Revolutionary Armies, and I do think that's generally just better. Thing with like Dressrosa, for example, is that there's a surprising number of good Revolutionary Army cards, like this one and the new Koala, which, oh, there it is, yeah. The new Koala is also Dressrosa and Revolutionary Army and also becomes an 8 cost. So there's a reasonable argument to play both of them. Not only that, but you have things like the Sabo is also both of them. Like, you could reasonably run stage and still have enough Revolutionary cards to be able to play some of the strong things. But the thing for me when I'm trying to build a deck is I'm trying to find the strongest card in the deck and play around it. And for me, the strongest card is this and this. Dragon can put one of the 6-cost characters from your trash straight onto the board. And if you're able to play Dragon into Subtle and immediately get the activate main effect from Subtle to put it onto your leader, you have a 6-cost 8,000 blocker and your leader's 6,000 power on the opponent's turn, and also hitting for 7,000. So it makes you very tanky because you also have 5 life for some reason. It makes you very aggressive because you just set up a 9,000 power and an 8,000 power with the leader effects plus 1,000, and then because of the old dragon, you can hit the turn after that with something like 8 and 10 with these two. So for me, at least, the core was just these 3 cards, and then the question after that is, how do you make it as consistent as possible, and how do you shore up some of the weaknesses, which would usually be things like curve. Yeah, but the thing is, he's 4,000 power, which is why he's 5 life. But that 1 life is kind of 2 defenses because it's probably, or statistically, like 1,000 counter, and you get to protect 1 life for free just because you get to peel that 1 life. So just having 1 extra life makes it much easier to defend yourself. But so I look at something like this, and then basically after that, you just need to find things that make the deck list more consistent, which is Koala. This other Koala is good for your curve going first, but because this Koala can't search this Koala, I'm considering putting in the Revolutionary Army search event, which I don't remember what it's called. I think that the new Garp, for example, could be good, but you can probably interchange this with the red Bella Betty. Sorry if I'm missing some of your questions, by the way. I've gotten too invested into this topic now. Like this Luffy as well, it doesn't necessarily make your leader 8k because it's still a 5 cost, but it attaches a dong to your leader, which makes it just easier to activate the cost. And also because it has rush, it kind of plays into the same sort of style where you're being very tanky while also putting a lot of pressure onto the opponent through all of these things. The stage also I think is pretty great because it helps you filter out your hand, doesn't let some of these cards be bricks, helps you find some of your top end, and also helps you fill up your trash, which is going to be very important for a dragon. After that, I don't know if these are all the cards, but then you just start to fill up your deck with a bunch of 2Ks, so you can just pop in the Subble, you can pop in the Quada, and if you feel like you need more, you can pop in like another one, which I'm sure there's a bunch, I just can't find them. And then you basically have a deck. This card obviously has 1,000 counter, but because it can't pick up Koala, that means that you can't pick up a 2K, and you also can't pick up a very strong card for your curve going first. And I feel like this deck probably curves very well when you're going second. You can go like Haku into Sabo into Dragon, and then you have too many things on the board the opponent can deal with. So Quada not being able to pick up a 2K nor card that's very important when you're going first seems like a bit of a problem to me. So I'm considering doing this and just adding in the search event instead, but I haven't really been able to test too much. This is kind of like what I would imagine the deck list would look like. Not bad. So my 8 cards that you can kind of mess around with. I don't remember if there's another good card to put in. I'm kind of blinking. Yeah, Morley. I mean, I literally just started saying this. I started putting this together like as we were talking, so it's definitely going to be missing important cards. 6-cost Dragon basically is KO protection, but it's tricky to play out of hand because it's not an 8 cost, so you basically have to play it off of this dragon. So I feel like a card like that you're not necessarily eager to play on curve and you just want to have in your trash, you can justify reducing. The reason, for example, that I put Luffy at 2 is because it's counterless, although I don't know how much of an issue that's going to be in the end. And also, it's not necessarily the highest priority card that you want to play when you're going first, because the highest priority card would be Koala. So it's just kind of oversaturating the 5-cost slot. But if you have the extra space and you don't feel like the counterless part is a problem, then that's something to consider. I just remembered. There's a plus 4K event. This one. Hey, see? Now we're at 50 cards. So like something like this is a pretty good like starting point, but I'm sure that you can mess around with it a bit. This Scarp can just as easily be this Bella Betty. It's just depending on how important you feel like these sorts of cards are, and also just like how necessary that you think some of the tech cards are, for example. I don't. So what I realized yesterday is I don't necessarily think that the deck uses Karasa very well, because you need to find a timing to put a Dong onto your leader, which will make your Karasa 6,000 power, but then you need to attach another Dong to your Karasa to be able to use the effect on attack. And because you're going to want to be using your Dong to play these much larger characters, you don't have too much Dong to spare to do things like that, and you also don't really have much time to play Karasa. So I could be wrong, but Karasa didn't feel that crazy. I don't like Stussy as a card too much in general, unless you're playing just a ton of really low-cost things. And what I noticed with Sabo is that at some point you kind of stop playing. Also, for example, in this version of the deck, although you probably just change this to one of the 1-cost searchers if you wanted to put in Stussy. You have so many different high-end cards that feel like they play towards your game plan a bit more of just creating a really big board and slowly pushing over your opponent. That I don't necessarily know. My own YouTube just crashed for a second, but I think the stream was fine. Yeah, you could put in a card like Stussy if you want to play more towards control, but I feel like generally the better way to play this is to just play this like a slow immovable object where you slowly build up your board and just push through the opponent with big 9k attacks, 10k attacks, and very strong defense through the Sabo, as well as other very solid blockers and big event counter, while your leader is a 6,000 power leader with 5 life. The set's not even out yet. It comes out next week. We might have a special guest soon.
Hello.
Hello. Is that national champion Jonas Abraham?
It's been a couple tournaments since I've qualified, but yeah, it's the one and only. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we've just been talking about OP13, kind of throwing together a Sabo list. This is pretty
Ooh,
good
okay.
actually. I'm gonna screenshot this for later.
I'm always concerned about what you're supposed to do on your 5 down turn with that deck.
I
It
mean,
just feels so bad when you're going first.
have you seen the new koala?
Oh, is that the attach a Dawn for free one?
Yeah, like it's nothing crazy, but just having like 5 cost 6,000, which is 8 cost on your turn, that lets you attach a dong to your leader, just seems generally pretty solid.
Do you think that's going to be like naturally like aggressive leaning, or is it more like mid-range leaning, or you just don't really know in terms of what things will look like right now?
I feel like it's pretty mid range. I think the game kind of starts once you start playing the 8 cost dragons.
Is there any chance that playing OP04 Sabo would be good, just to kind of play around that 6-drop KO effect? Or is it just too niche? Like,
Um,
it being a
but
5/7 blocker later in the game can be quite nice, and then 8-cost
yeah,
Dragon into
yeah,
Sabo can also be quite good.
yeah. I definitely think that things like that could be very helpful. Like I'm just kind of struggling for space. Maybe you do just get rid of the
Yeah,
Luffy. Um, because it was the kind of random non-revolutionary army card, and then you put in Subble, for example.
yeah. That's
Honestly,
kind of what my inclination was. I also think it
yeah,
really helps make sure your first dragon is always good. Your
mhm,
first 8-cost black dragon. Because
yeah,
when I was trying to like goldfish it a little bit, one thing that happened is a lot of times on my 8-down turn, when I wanted to play the new OPO12 dragon, I didn't have a premium target to bring back, if anything. And just like making sure I can always just set it up with the 5-cost Sabo was nice.
yeah.